Korea, a country of snow-capped mountains and watery rice paddies. A country divided by a war, yet molded by tradition. Korea, a land of children and farmers, businessmen and fishermen, and of the famous women divers of Chu Island. Young Jae will be a diver in search of pearl oysters, octopus, and shellfish. She too will follow in the wake of her mother and her grandmother. But right now, she has her hands full getting her brother dressed, with or without his cooperation. There's the washing, and then something special to do. Buying a birthday gift for her grandfather. Ever since she could remember, she's found him something just a little different. But this year, she couldn't decide, and time was short. But the chores first. Everyone had something to do. Her father was already at the harbor preparing for a day's fishing. And her mother had more washing to be done before going diving. Young Jae has spent all her 12 years on Chu Island in the fishing village of Bucheon. She has never set foot on the Korean mainland 150 kilometers away. But then, neither has her grandfather in all his 75 years. And yet he's a worldly person, full of Korean legends from across the land. The stories he tells Young Jae's little brother on his frequent visits keep him content for hours. But the very young and the very old in Korea share a special feeling for one another. Son Young is one of Young Jae's best friends, and like all Chu Island girls their age, they're expected to help with many of the daily chores, giving their mothers a little more time to organize the household and bring up the children as they think best. For here on Chu Island, the burden of the work seems to fall on the woman's shoulders, from running the household, diving, to other jobs like helping plant and harvest the crops. This is a tradition which has come down through the centuries, a tradition which is being passed on from one generation to another. Bucheon awakens early from necessity. Breakfasts to be eaten, fishing gear and boats readied. Since the washing water in the well is controlled by the changing tides, it's only possible to wash at certain moments of the day. Now, however, is the perfect time, with the tide bringing the water level up through the bottom of the well. Here it remains until the tide reverses itself and the water level drops once more. Doing the family wash also gives Young Jae a chance to meet friends and chat about all manner of things. Younger boys and girls escape most duties, for now, though early morning usually finds them down around the harbor, which in Bucheon is the main center of activity. This harbor, fitting snug against the rugged coastline, is typical of so many found around Chu Island. It's also an ideal place for a little fun. These young people learn early to enjoy the sea. They are taught to swim almost before they can walk, for island people particularly know the dangers of the sea. Learning to swim, then, is one less hazard to worry about. For young Jay, washing clothes isn't her idea of fun. It's the diving that holds her interest. When a girl reaches age 12, she is taught by her mother to become a Jeju diver. At 16, she will receive her own equipment as a gift and join her mother and the other women divers to carry on the tradition of Jeju Island. Among the many rituals and traditions of Korea, few are older than the worship of the spirits. These are the spirits of the earth, the mountains, trees. Another is the Dragon King, spirit of the sea. Those who venture out on the sea have a great reverence for its power and majesty, and guarded respect for the Dragon King. Because of this respect, the divers will go out only when the Dragon King is pleased enough to make the waters calm, the bottom clear. This sort of worship is called Shamanism, a kind of folk religion that has survived in the rural areas of Korea. Through their offerings, these old ladies, known as shinbangs, hope to encourage the friendship of the Dragon King, so he will take kindly to the local divers, fishermen, and even to casual swimmers. This solemn ritual is performed whenever the catch is low, when the sea is rough, or when a new boat or diver is going out for the first time. To sweeten the sea spirit's taste, he is offered wine and food. Further, prayers written on symbolic scrolls are burnt to win his friendship. Now, under the guidance of the shinbangs, the divers are happy, for they know of all the dangers which might beset them a mile or two from shore. As for Bungchon itself, it must sit in high favor with the Dragon King, as there has been no loss of life in the area in living memory. Young Jay, too, has a deep respect for the sea. Her mother warned her of the dangers when she was old enough to come on the boat with the other experienced divers. And now it's her turn to watch and listen if she is ever going to become one of them. Once out in the open sea, the divers now have to find a spot which will yield them a worthwhile catch. Careful preparation for the dive is important, for these women will remain in the water 4 or 5 hours a day, the year round. Though Jeju Island is in a semi-tropical region, the winter months can still be cold and uncomfortable. Imagine then how cold the sea must be at depths of 30 to 50 feet. Each diver has her own float. Hanging from it is a net to hold her catch. Between dives, she will also use this float for support while she catches her breath. Before diving, she will cruise slowly along the surface, peering down for any sign of shellfish or other things worth having. On finding a particularly good area, she will signal her fellow divers and then dive immediately. She is capable of reaching 50 feet, straight down. It's the constant diving over the years which has given the Jeju women extraordinary breath control, for they rely only on their natural supply of air. While most of us find holding our breaths for 30 or 40 seconds difficult, these divers remain submerged for more than 2 or 3 minutes at a stretch. Whistling helps them maintain an even rhythm of breathing. And once again, it's down to the bottom. Fine catch means nets full of shrimp, clams, pearl oyster, octopus, and even seaweed for soup. Young Jay and her friends practice now what they've seen their mothers do, but in shallower waters. Young Jay is serious, no less today because a good catch for her would put extra coins towards her grandfather's birthday present. That she couldn't forget. Diving here with her friends is a little more relaxing. But then no one is expecting them to dive for their livelihood. At least, not yet. And this makes the difference. Breathing comes next. It takes a great deal of practice to reach the bottom and stay there long enough to catch something. Knowing what you want and where to find it takes experience. Even spotting a half-buried oyster needs a bit of luck. One could easily add a head cold to the catch, for it isn't the warmest of days. Shivering is all part of being a Jeju diver. Young Jae isn't only warmed by the fire. She's warmed by the thought that the extra good catch means a little more money to her grandfather's present. But buying the present will have to wait, at least until after school. To Koreans, attending school is a privilege rather than a chore. They receive great enjoyment from learning about themselves and people of other lands, and taking a genuine interest in class activities. Pupils are happy to see their regular teacher back with them again. Mr. Lee had been away taking further courses in teachers' training, set up by the government and assisted by UNICEF. These courses help him keep up with the latest in teaching techniques.
갈팡질팡하면서 앞을 다투어 도망가기 시작했어.
갈팡질팡. 너 그럼 갈팡질팡을 갖고 너 짧은 거를 지어버려.
도둑질을 하려고 하니까 집주인이 오고 있으니까 도둑들은 어쩔 모르고 갈팡질팡.
예, 어쩔 줄 모르고 갈팡질팡했다. 아주 잘 말했지.
It is the pupils' desire, too, to get as much as possible from school, which leads them into some form of class participation. For example, it's Young Jae's turn right now to take over the class, and she elects to lead them in her favorite song.
모두 이 자리에 올라섰다. 머리어깨 무릎발 무릎발 머리어깨 무릎발 무릎발 머리어깨 무릎발 무릎발 무릎 머리어깨 발 무릎발 머리어깨 고기 고기.
With school over, young Jay and her mother reach the market in the town of Jeju, a few miles from Wuchon. The moment has now arrived when she must buy a present for her grandfather, a decision yet to be made. But what could be more confusing than having to select a gift from all the produce and goods piled up around her? Well, now, something special. A pair of socks? Straw sandals? No, not special enough. Then maybe a new pony hair hat. What could be better? That's it. Pipe. Long-stemmed pipe. Doesn't look unlike grandfather either. Long, thin, and rather funny. Just like him. But will he like it? Will he use it is more important. What's the good of having such an elegant pipe if it's never used? No? This should suit him perfectly.
700원이요. 예, 뭐는데? 됐죠?
No one loves a birthday party like grandfather, especially when it's his. Well, that is, only when he can share it with grandmother and all the children of the village. You see, when a Korean reaches age 60, birthdays take on new meaning. You then become an elder of the village, respected, asked for your advice, and so on. Grandfather is doubly honored because today he is 75. And though the children always enjoy themselves at such parties, they never forget to show him their respect. Everyone learns, too, from an early age how to bow properly and show reverence, for it's a solemn occasion. Almost. At last, it's young Jay's turn, and she must wonder to herself how she might have better wrapped it so it wouldn't look like a pipe. And more important, will he like it? Of course, there's another side to such a party, which means a good meal for everyone, once the presents have been offered and opened by grandfather.
이 배우 이야기. 이러지 마라. 그래 가는 애기야. 이래. 가져라.
Yes, grandfather is pleased with his pipe. And when the party's over, they enjoy sharing a quiet moment together.
담배와 떴다가
좋지, 엄마. 몇 시에는
Of course, he teases her a lot, but then grandfather teases everyone. It's his way. But now she mustn't forget to remind him of his promise to take her to the temple tomorrow. In Korea, and here on Jeju Island, women take on many roles. Divers, housekeepers, working the fields, bringing in the harvest. Grandfather teases them all with jokes and stories when they have time to listen. They enjoy his company and he theirs. And he'd probably remain in the fields all day, but the temple beckons. Buddhism is one of the most important religions in Korea, and it is here in a local temple that Young Jae and her grandfather come from time to time. The followers of Buddha find peace and tranquility here through meditation. Pressures and problems of the world beyond the temple take on a less important role. And for Young Jae, it means a moment to be quite alone, to think her own thoughts. It is to the sea also that Young Jae turns to find a quiet moment, where she can let her mind drift back to Pukchon, to school, the market, and the trips to the washing well. But never far from her mind are the wonders the sea brings to her in the shape of little sea creatures and flowing seaweed found far down below the surface. And it is to her grandfather that she turns when something troubles her. She needs advice. For there is a special feeling, a line of communication between the young and the old in this country, which touches them both. They can talk, share dreams and ideas, but more important, understand each other. Her grandfather has lived through it all. The devastation brought on by a war that divided the land into North and South Korea. Violent storms along the island coast. The joys of watching his family growing up around him. He tells her, too, of the future, the importance of education before turning to the sea. And Young Jae smiles because her grandfather is so wise. Will she thinks, ever be so wise someday?